What if the only thing standing between you and your dream life was action? This audiobook shatters the barriers of fear, doubt, and hesitation, rewiring your mind for relentless execution. No more waiting, no more excuses. It's time to dominate your goals and unleash your unstoppable power. Introduction. There comes a moment in everyone's life when they realize they were meant for more. A moment when the dreams they once had as a child resurface, whispering that they were never meant to be forgotten. A moment when they feel a deep, almost primal hunger to break free from mediocrity and claim the life they were truly destined for. But here's the hard truth. Most people never act on that feeling. They want success, but they hesitate. They want change, but they make excuses. They have goals, dreams, ambitions, but when it comes time to take action, they freeze. And before they know it, years have passed, and they're in the exact same place, wondering what went wrong. That will not be your story. This audiobook is not just another motivational pep talk. It is not about temporary inspiration or empty words that make you feel good for a moment, but leave you unchanged. This is a battle plan, a strategy, a transformation process that will make taking action so natural, so automatic, that you will never hesitate again. By the time you finish this book, you will no longer be the person who waits for the right moment. You will become the person who creates the moment. You will no longer be the person who overthinks, doubts, and hesitates. You will be the person who moves, executes, and dominates. If you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt frustrated with your lack of progress, if you've ever wondered why you aren't further ahead despite all your potential, then this audiobook will be the turning point. Because the truth is, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is action. The problem? Most people don't know how to take action consistently, with intensity, at a level that guarantees results. And that's exactly what we're going to fix, starting now. Why most people fail to take action? The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's action. And yet, most people fail to take action. Not because they don't want to, not because they aren't capable, but because they have been trapped by the invisible forces that hold most people back. Fear of failure. The thought of making mistakes or looking foolish keeps them from even trying. Overthinking. They analyze every decision so much that they never actually make one. Lack of urgency. They tell themselves, "I'll start tomorrow," but tomorrow never comes. Distractions. Social media, entertainment, and other people's opinions keep them from focusing on what matters. Comfort. They've settled into a life that's good enough and have lost the fire to push for more. These are the chains that keep people stuck, and if you're honest with yourself, you've felt them too. But the good news, every single one of these can be broken, and that's exactly what this book will help you do. The mindset shift needed for domination. If you want to be unstoppable, the first thing you must understand is this: you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits, your mindset, and your execution. Most people think success is about setting big goals and dreaming big dreams, but that's only part of it. The real key is what happens after you set the goal. Do you take immediate action, or do you hesitate? Do you execute relentlessly, or do you let distractions pull you away? Do you keep pushing forward when things get hard, or do you give up at the first obstacle? The difference between the successful and the average is not their ideas. It's their execution. And execution is 100% driven by your mindset. That's why the first shift you must make is simple but powerful. You must stop waiting and start moving. Stop waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel fully ready. You must act before you feel ready. Stop waiting for permission. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to give you the life you want. You have to take it. From this moment forward, you are no longer someone who hesitates. You are no longer someone who overthinks. You are no longer someone who waits. You are someone who takes action immediately, relentlessly, without hesitation. And once you make that shift, everything changes. How this audiobook will transform your approach to goals. This is not just another book about success. This is a blueprint for action. Here's what you'll learn: how to destroy hesitation and take immediate action on any goal. How to rewire your brain so that execution becomes automatic. How to build unstoppable momentum so that success becomes effortless. How to eliminate distractions and focus with laser-like precision. How to develop a relentless work ethic that makes winning inevitable. Each chapter will take you step by step through the exact process you need to become an execution machine. You will learn how to reprogram your mindset, build unshakable confidence, and create a system that forces you to take action every single day. Because the truth is, you don't need more information. You need transformation, and that transformation starts now. Are you ready? Good. Because by the time you finish this book, you won't just be motivated, you will be unstoppable. Let's begin. Let's dive deep into Chapter 1, The Psychology of Unstoppable Action, in a way that genuinely connects with the listener, builds trust, and provides actionable insights. This will be a long, immersive, and compelling read. Here's the full first chapter, packed with real-world examples, deep psychological insights, and practical steps. Chapter 1, The Psychology of Unstoppable Action. Have you ever found yourself endlessly planning, researching, or thinking about your next big move, only to never actually take the first step? You tell yourself, "I just need a little more time," or "I'll start when I feel more ready." Maybe you've convinced yourself that waiting until you have the perfect strategy is the smartest thing to do. But let's be brutally honest. How many times has this waiting game led to real results? Probably never. If you're being completely honest with yourself, you'll realize that the real reason you haven't taken action has nothing to do with needing more information or waiting for the perfect time. The truth is, you're trapped by psychological resistance, an invisible force that holds you back from taking the very steps that could change your life. This isn't just about laziness or procrastination. In fact, the people who struggle the most with taking action are often intelligent, ambitious, and deeply aware of their potential. You're not failing because you don't have enough talent, knowledge, or capability. You're stuck because your brain is designed to resist change. It sees stepping outside your comfort zone as a threat, and its number one job is to protect you from discomfort, uncertainty, and risk. That's why you hesitate. That's why you delay. That's why, despite knowing what you should do, you often don't do it. So how do we break free from this cycle? How do we rewire our minds to become action takers instead of overthinkers? The answer lies in understanding how the brain works and learning how to override the mechanisms that keep you stuck. That's exactly what we're going to do in this chapter. You'll discover the hidden forces controlling your decisions, how to silence the self-doubt that paralyzes you, and the exact strategies that will turn you into a person who takes action, without hesitation, without fear, and without overthinking. The brain's natural resistance to action. Why we hesitate. Every time you think about doing something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, starting a new business, speaking in public, committing to a fitness goal, your brain perceives it as a potential threat. This isn't logical, it's biological. Your brain is wired for self-preservation, not success. The moment you even think about taking action, your mind starts scanning for danger. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if this doesn't work out? And just like that, your brain convinces you, to retreat. This phenomenon is tied to the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for processing fear. It's the same mechanism that kept our ancestors alive in the wild, making them hyper-aware of potential threats like predators. But today, the danger our brains react to isn't a lion in the bushes. It's the fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty. And because we don't recognize this process happening in real time, we mistakenly believe that our hesitation is rational. We convince ourselves that our reasons for delaying action are logical, when in reality, they're just excuses masked as wisdom. The most dangerous part? The more we hesitate, the stronger this mental resistance becomes. Every time you decide to wait until later, you reinforce the habit of inaction. Your brain learns that avoidance equals safety, and soon, procrastination becomes second nature. If you've ever felt like you're stuck in a rut, or like you just can't get yourself to start, it's because your brain has been conditioned to resist action. But the good news? Just as hesitation is a learned habit, so is action. How to override fear and build the action habit. Now that you understand why your brain fights against action, let's talk about how to rewire it for unstoppable execution. The key is to interrupt hesitation before it gains momentum. Studies show that the average person experiences a 5-second window between having an idea and their brain shutting it down. This means that if you don't act within those 5 seconds, your mind will start generating excuses, doubts, and distractions to keep you stuck. One of the most effective techniques to combat this is the 5-second rule, a concept popularized by Mel Robbins. The idea is simple. The moment you feel yourself hesitating, count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. This interrupts your brain's default response and forces you into action before self-doubt takes over. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. This small trick rewires your brain to associate action with momentum rather than fear. But let's go even deeper. If you want to truly master the psychology of action, you need to build momentum loops, small, consistent actions that reinforce the habit of doing rather than thinking. Instead of overwhelming yourself with massive changes, focus on micro actions. Want to start working out? Instead of committing to an hour-long session, start with just 5 minutes. Want to write a book? Instead of aiming for a full chapter, commit to writing 1 sentence per day. The key is to make starting so easy that you can't fail. Why does this work? Because success isn't built on intensity. It's built on consistency. When you prove to your brain that you're someone who acts, hesitation loses its power over you. Action becomes your default state. And once you start, the momentum keeps you going. The power of identity shifts, becoming an action taker. But here's the real game changer. If you truly want to dominate your goals, you have to stop thinking of action as something you do and start thinking of it as who you are. Your brain is designed to protect your identity at all costs. If you see yourself as someone who hesitates, avoids risk, or lacks discipline, your mind will subconsciously act in ways that reinforce that belief. But the moment you shift your identity to someone who takes action no matter what, everything changes. Instead of saying, "I need to stop procrastinating," say, "I am the kind of person who takes action immediately." Instead of thinking, "I should be more disciplined," say, "I am someone who follows through, no matter what." This small shift in identity is one of the most powerful psychological hacks you can use. When your actions align with your identity, hesitation disappears. You don't have to force yourself to act. You just do, because that's who you are. Final words. It's time to take control. At this point, you have a choice. You can finish this chapter feeling motivated, nodding along, thinking, "Wow, this makes so much sense," and then go right back to your old patterns. Or you can make a decision right now to become the kind of person who acts, no matter what. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who feel the most ready, the smartest, or the most prepared. They're the ones who take action, even when they're scared, even when they're uncertain, even when they don't feel like it. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel hesitation creeping in, interrupt it. Count down from 5. Take action immediately. Start before you're ready. And watch how quickly your life begins to change. Because once you become someone who takes action without hesitation, you become unstoppable. Chapter 2. Defining your goals with laser focus. If you've ever set a goal and failed to achieve it, you probably assumed the problem was a lack of willpower, discipline, or motivation. You told yourself, I just need to work harder, or I need to stay more focused. But what if the real problem wasn't your effort, but the goal itself? What if you've been playing a rigged game this whole time, setting yourself up for failure before you even began? The truth is, most people never reach their goals, not because they lack ability or drive, but because their goals are too vague, too weak, or not truly aligned with what they actually want. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I want to be successful, or I want to make more money, or I want to get in shape, only to make little to no progress? The problem with these goals isn't that they're bad, but that they're unclear. Your brain thrives on clarity, and when your goal lacks definition, your brain doesn't know where to focus its energy. Imagine getting into a car and saying, I want to go somewhere nice. Where exactly are you going? What's the destination? Without a specific target, you'll just end up driving in circles. And that's exactly what most people do with their goals. Now, here's where things get even more dangerous. When you set vague goals, you make it easier to quit. If your goal is just to be more successful, how do you know if you're making progress? If your goal is to get in better shape, what does success even look like? When there's no clear finish line, your brain loses motivation fast because it doesn't know what it's working toward. And without a clear target, it's impossible to track progress, making it easy to tell yourself, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. So how do we fix this? How do we set goals that actually work? Goals that keep us driven, focused, and locked in, no matter what obstacles arise. It starts with understanding the difference between weak goals and powerful goals. The power of precision. Why vague goals? Fail a weak goal is something like, I want to make more money. I want to be in better shape. I want to grow my business. Now compare that to a powerful goal. I will earn an additional $10,000 in the next 90 days by launching a side business that generates at least $3,500 per month. I will lose 15 pounds and build visible muscle definition within 12 weeks by following a structured nutrition and workout plan. I will grow my business revenue by 50% in the next 6 months by implementing a new marketing strategy and optimizing my sales funnel. See the difference? Powerful goals have specificity, deadlines, and measurable outcomes. Instead of saying, I want more money, define exactly how much money you want to make, by when, and how you will do it. Instead of saying, I want to be in shape, define what fitness means to you: weight loss, strength, endurance, and set a clear time frame for achieving it. The clearer your goal, the easier it is to break it down into action steps, and the more motivated you'll feel to actually execute. But we're not stopping here. Because even though specificity is powerful, there's an even greater factor that determines whether you'll actually achieve your goal or not. And that's emotional connection. The secret sauce: emotion-driven goals that pull you forward. Most people fail, not because their goals are too hard, but because they aren't emotionally connected to them. If your goal doesn't excite you, if it doesn't create a deep emotional response, you're not going to push through when things get tough. The truth is, logic doesn't drive action. Emotion does. That's why so many people struggle to stay committed to their goals. It's not that they're lazy or unmotivated. It's that their goals don't create a strong enough emotional pull. Think about the most successful people in any field. Whether it's world-class athletes, billionaire entrepreneurs, or elite performers, they all have one thing in common: a deep, almost obsessive emotional attachment to their goals. They don't just kind of want success, they're driven by something deeper. Whether it's proving doubters wrong, creating a legacy, or escaping a painful past, they have a reason so powerful that quitting isn't an option. So here's your challenge. Before you set another goal, ask yourself, why does this matter to me? What's the emotional reason behind this goal? If you want to make more money, is it because you want to provide a better life for your family? If you want to get fit, is it because you're tired of feeling insecure and want to regain confidence? If you want to build a business, is it because you refuse to settle for an average life? The stronger your why, the stronger your drive. The moment your goal becomes emotionally charged, it stops being just an idea and starts becoming a mission. And people on a mission don't hesitate. They don't procrastinate. They don't make excuses. They execute no matter what. The Power Goal Framework, a blueprint for domination. Now that you understand the psychology behind goal setting, let's put it into action. Here's a simple but powerful framework to set goals that are impossible to ignore. POWER goals, purpose-driven. Does this goal deeply matter to you? Does it ignite passion, excitement, or urgency? Optimized. Is this goal specific, measurable, and clear? Have you defined exactly what success looks like? Worthy. Is this goal big enough to push you? If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Energized. Does thinking about this goal fire you up? If not, you need a stronger emotional connection. Resilient. Is this goal something you're willing to fight for even when things get tough? If your goal passes this test, congratulations. You've just created an unstoppable target. A goal that will drive you forward with relentless momentum. But now, there's one more thing left to do. Final step. Commit and execute immediately. The biggest mistake people make is waiting after setting a goal. They write it down, feel inspired, and then do nothing. The longer you wait, the weaker your momentum becomes. So here's your final challenge. Take action right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. It doesn't have to be huge. Send an email, make a call, write the first page, do one push-up. Just do something, anything, to break the cycle of hesitation and prove to yourself that this time is different. Because once you start moving, something powerful happens. Your goal stops being just a dream and starts becoming your new reality. Chapter 3. The Science of Unbreakable Discipline. There's a reason why most people fail to stick to their goals, even after they set them with clarity and emotional conviction. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they lack motivation. And it's certainly not because they aren't capable. The truth is, most people rely on willpower to achieve their goals, and that's exactly why they fail. If you've ever started a new habit or routine with excitement, only to watch that motivation fade after a few weeks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You start out strong. You hit the gym consistently, wake up early, eat healthy, and grind toward your goals. But eventually, something shifts. You skip a workout. You sleep in just this once. You tell yourself, I'll get back on track tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, and before you know it, you're back to square one, feeling frustrated and wondering why you can't just stay disciplined. Here's the hard truth. Willpower is a weak fuel source. It burns out fast, and if you rely on it, you'll never achieve long-term success. The reason? Willpower is an inexhaustible resource. It functions like a battery, depleting as you make decisions throughout the day. That's why you can start your morning strong, making healthy choices and staying focused. But by the evening, you're reaching for junk food and scrolling mindlessly through social media. The more decisions you make, the more your willpower drains. And once it runs out, you default to old habits. Successful people don't rely on willpower. Instead, they build systems, habits, and identity shifts that make discipline automatic. They create environments that make success easier than failure. They design routines that eliminate the need for decision-making. They turn disciplined action into a natural, effortless part of who they are. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this chapter. By the time you finish reading, you'll know exactly how to hardwire discipline into your life, so that taking action becomes your default state, not something you have to force yourself to do. The truth about self-discipline: why you struggle to stay consistent. Most people think of discipline as something you either have or don't have. You look at successful people, top athletes, high-performing entrepreneurs, Navy SEALs, and assume they were just born different, that they have some superhuman ability to push through pain, resist temptation, and stay focused no matter what. But that's not the case at all. The difference between people who have unbreakable discipline and those who struggle isn't genetic, it's psychological. There are 3 core reasons why most people fail to stay disciplined. 1. They rely on motivation instead of systems. Motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates based on your mood, energy levels, and external circumstances. If you only take action when you feel like it, you'll never be consistent. The key is to eliminate the need for motivation by setting up systems that make taking action automatic. No thinking, no debating, no willpower required. 2. They don't respect momentum. Discipline isn't about giant leaps. It's about building small, consistent habits that create unstoppable momentum. If you keep stopping and starting, you never build enough momentum to sustain long-term discipline. But once you get going, discipline becomes effortless. 3. They haven't shifted their identity. The most powerful force in human psychology is identity. If you still see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, your brain will work subconsciously to prove that belief true. But if you shift your identity to, "I am a disciplined person," everything changes. Your actions will naturally align with who you believe you are. So how do we fix this? How do we eliminate the need for willpower, build unstoppable momentum, and hardwire discipline into our identity? Let's break it down step by step. Step 1. Design a system that eliminates choice. The easiest way to stay disciplined is to remove the need for discipline in the first place. If you create an environment where taking action is the default, you won't have to fight yourself every day to do the right thing. The key is eliminating choice and reducing friction. For example, let's say your goal is to work out every morning. If you wake up and have to decide whether or not to exercise, you're already at a disadvantage. That decision drains willpower. But if you lay out your workout clothes the night before, set an alarm across the room, and schedule your workout in your calendar like a non-negotiable meeting, you've eliminated the need for decision-making. The action becomes automatic. The same applies to eating healthy. If you have junk food in your house, you're constantly forcing yourself to resist temptation. But if you only stock your kitchen with healthy options, eating well becomes effortless. The fewer decisions you have to make, the more disciplined you will be. Step 2. Make momentum your greatest ally. Discipline isn't built on intensity. It's built on consistency. If you've ever tried to start a new habit by going all in, hitting the gym for 2 hours, eating a perfect diet, waking up at 5 a.m., and then burned out within a week, you've learned this the hard way. The key to long-term discipline is starting small and focusing on consistency over intensity. Want to build a writing habit? Instead of forcing yourself to write 1,000 words a day, start with 1 sentence per day. Want to get in shape? Instead of committing to an hour-long workout, Start with 5 minutes per day. This might sound insignificant, but it's the secret to unstoppable discipline. Why? Because once you start, you naturally want to keep going. A single push-up turns into 10. A single sentence turns into a full page. A 5-minute walk turns into a full workout. But if you never start, nothing happens. The hardest part is breaking inertia. Once you're moving, momentum carries you forward. Step 3. Shift your identity to become the type of person who. This is where true lasting discipline is forged. If you still see yourself as someone who struggles with consistency, you will always battle against yourself. But if you shift your identity, discipline becomes effortless. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to work out," say, "I am an athlete." Instead of saying, "I need to be more productive," say, "I am the kind of person who gets things done." Your brain will fight to stay consistent with who you believe you are. The more you reinforce this identity through action, the stronger it becomes. Final words. The path to unstoppable execution. Most people fail because they approach discipline the wrong way. They try to force themselves into action through sheer willpower, burning out before they ever build momentum. But now you know the truth. Discipline isn't about willpower. It's about systems, momentum, and identity. If you design your environment to eliminate choice, start small to build unstoppable momentum, and reprogram your identity, discipline stops being a struggle. It becomes who you are. And once you become the kind of person who executes relentlessly, without hesitation, without excuses, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 4. The Relentless Mindset, Turning Obstacles into Opportunities. Life is unpredictable. No matter how carefully you plan, no matter how disciplined you become, you will face setbacks, failures, and unexpected roadblocks. That's not pessimism. It's reality. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of obstacles. It's the way they respond to them. Most people see challenges as stop signs. They hit an obstacle and immediately think, well, maybe this wasn't meant for me. They let doubt creep in. They start questioning whether they're capable, whether they're lucky enough, whether they're cut out for success. And slowly, without even realizing it, they start backing away from their goals. They start playing it safe. They tell themselves they're just being realistic, but in reality, they're giving up. They're letting obstacles define them. But the people who win at life think differently. They don't see obstacles as stop signs. They see them as stepping stones. They don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they ask, "How can I use this? How can I turn this into an advantage?" That single shift in mindset changes everything. Because once you stop seeing obstacles as problems and start seeing them as opportunities, you become unstoppable. You stop hesitating. You stop fearing failure. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start forcing progress no matter what stands in your way. The truth is, resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a skill, just like discipline, that can be trained and strengthened over time. And in this chapter, I'm going to show you exactly how to rewire your brain so that setbacks no longer shake you, so that every failure, every rejection, every challenge only makes you stronger, sharper, and more determined than ever. By the time we're done, you won't just be the type of person who keeps going despite obstacles. You'll be the type of person who thrives because of them. The Psychology of Winners. How to train yourself to love challenges. If you study the most successful people in any field, whether it's business, sports, entertainment, or personal development, you'll notice a pattern. They all faced rejection, failure, and overwhelming odds, but instead of letting those experiences break them, they used them as fuel. They developed what psychologists call a growth mindset, a belief that setbacks aren't proof of failure, but proof of progress. Think about it like this. Imagine you're lifting weights for the first time. On day 1, the bar feels heavy, your muscles burn, you struggle. But if you push through that discomfort, something amazing happens. Your body adapts. It gets stronger. The same weight that once felt impossible eventually becomes easy. That's exactly how mental toughness works. Every time you face a challenge and push through, your mind gets stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who doesn't back down. And over time, this relentless mindset becomes a core part of who you are. The key is to shift your perspective on discomfort. Most people run from discomfort. They see struggle as a sign that something is wrong. But the truth is, struggle is a sign that you're growing. Every challenge is like a weight you're lifting, an opportunity to get stronger. And the more you expose yourself to difficulty, the more unshakable you become. So, how do you train yourself to love challenges instead of fearing them? It starts with changing the way you interpret setbacks. How to rewire your brain. Turning pain into power. Most people have been conditioned to avoid failure at all costs. In school, mistakes were punished. In society, setbacks are seen as embarrassing. But the most successful people in the world actively seek out failure because they know something most people don't. Failure is feedback. When you fail at something, it doesn't mean you're not capable. It just means you found a method that didn't work. That's all. Nothing more. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is just data. If you try a business idea and it doesn't take off, that's not a failure. It's a lesson. If you get rejected for a job, that's not a failure. It's feedback on how to improve. If you attempt a new skill and struggle, that's not a failure. It's proof that you're pushing your limits. The key is to train your mind to see every failure as an opportunity to learn. Instead of thinking, I failed, so I should stop, start thinking, I failed, so now I know what to adjust. This single mindset shift eliminates fear, because once you stop seeing failure as the enemy, you stop hesitating. You stop doubting yourself. You start taking bold, decisive action, because you know that no matter what happens, you will grow. Developing the no matter what mentality. There's a difference between people who dabble in success and those who dominate. The difference? No matter what mentality. The people who achieve extraordinary results aren't necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They're just the ones who refuse to stop. They don't let external circumstances dictate their actions. They don't wait for motivation. They don't look for the right time. They decide what they want, and then they pursue it with relentless, unshakable commitment. If you truly want to reach your biggest goals, you have to make an unbreakable commitment to yourself. That means you don't quit when it gets hard, you adapt and push through. You don't let excuses creep in, you take action anyway. You don't let fear hold you back, you face it head on. Most people let their circumstances control them, but winners create their own circumstances. No matter what obstacles show up, no matter what setbacks arise, they find a way forward. They take full ownership of their results. And because of that, they win every single time. Final words. Making yourself unstoppable. At the end of the day, the people who achieve massive success aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They've trained their minds to thrive under pressure, to turn pain into power, and to keep moving forward no matter what. And that's exactly what you're going to do from this moment forward. You are no longer someone who gets discouraged by challenges. You are no longer someone who backs down when things get tough. You are someone who loves the process. You are someone who sees every obstacle as an opportunity to grow. You are someone who pushes forward relentlessly, no matter what. Because once you develop the mindset of a champion, once you decide that nothing can stop you, nothing ever will. Chapter 5. The Relentless Execution Formula: How to Take Massive, Unstoppable Action. Most people spend their entire lives thinking about what they want to do, instead of actually doing it. They dream, they plan, they talk about their goals, but when it comes to execution, they hesitate, they overthink, they procrastinate. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year, until one day they wake up and realize they never truly went after what they wanted. The most painful thing in life isn't failure, it's regret. The feeling of knowing you had the potential to do something great, but let fear, doubt, and hesitation hold you back. But you're not going to let that happen. There's a reason why most people struggle to take action. It's not because they're lazy or incapable. It's because they're waiting for the perfect moment. They tell themselves they'll start when they feel ready, when they have more confidence, when the conditions are right. But the harsh truth is, the perfect moment does not exist. If you're waiting for motivation, you'll never start. If you're waiting for the fear to go away, you'll be waiting forever. The people who achieve extraordinary success aren't the ones who wait until they feel ready. They're the ones who take action, even when they feel unprepared. Think about the most successful people in the world: entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, leaders. Do you think they were fearless when they started? They had doubts, they had insecurities, they had moments of uncertainty, but they took action anyway. They knew that action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. They understood that clarity and success don't come from thinking about doing something. They come from actually doing it. If you've struggled to take action in the past, don't blame yourself. Society has conditioned you to believe that you need to have everything figured out before you start. You've been told to do more research, to wait for the right time, to make sure everything is perfect. But that kind of thinking is what keeps most people stuck in mediocrity. This chapter is about rewiring your brain for action. It's about eliminating the excuses, breaking through the mental barriers, and developing the ability to execute relentlessly without hesitation. Because once you learn how to take action consistently, nothing will be out of your reach. No goal will be too big, no challenge too intimidating, no setback too discouraging, because you'll have trained yourself to act no matter what. The Psychology of Relentless Execution: Why Action Beats Everything. Most people assume that thinking leads to action. They believe that if they spend enough time visualizing, planning, and preparing, they'll eventually reach a point where they feel ready to take action. But the reality is the complete opposite. Action leads to thinking. When you take action, your brain starts working differently. Instead of dwelling on what ifs and worst-case scenarios, it shifts into problem-solving mode. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. You start finding solutions instead of excuses. You start believing in yourself, not because you convinced yourself through positive thinking, but because you proved to yourself through action that you're capable. Here's the fundamental rule of execution. Momentum is more powerful than motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. If you rely on motivation, you'll only take action when you feel good, which means you'll never be consistent. But momentum is different. Momentum makes execution automatic. It makes action your default state. Once you build momentum, stopping becomes harder than continuing. Think about the last time you were in the zone, when you were taking massive action without overthinking, without hesitation, without procrastination. How did you get there? You probably didn't start with motivation. You started with one small action. Maybe you forced yourself to sit down and write the first sentence of an article. Maybe you pushed yourself to do just one push-up. Maybe you made just one phone call. And once you started, it became easier to keep going. That's the power of momentum. The hardest part isn't taking massive action. It's taking the first action. So if you want to become someone who takes action relentlessly, you don't need more motivation. you need to master the art of creating momentum on demand. Let's break down exactly how to do that. Step 1. Lower the barrier to action. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to take action is because they set the bar too high. They think they have to do something huge right away, and that overwhelms them. They think, I need to write 10 pages today, or I need to work out for an hour, or I need to make 50 sales calls. And because those actions seem too big, they freeze. They procrastinate. They tell themselves they'll start later. The secret to overcoming this: make the first action so small that you can't say no. Instead of telling yourself you have to work out for an hour, commit to just 5 minutes. Instead of trying to write 10 pages, commit to writing 1 sentence. Instead of setting a goal of 50 calls, commit to making just 1. This might sound insignificant, but it's one of the most powerful execution strategies in the world. Because once you start, you won't want to stop. 5 minutes at the gym turns into 30 minutes. 1 sentence turns into an entire page. 1 sales call turns into 10. The key is to eliminate resistance by making the first action effortless. Step 2. Eliminate overthinking and decision fatigue. Hesitation kills execution. The more time you spend debating whether or not you should do something, the more likely you are to talk yourself out of it. If you want to become an action taker, you have to train yourself to shorten the gap between thought and action. One of the simplest ways to do this is by using the 5-second rule. Whenever you feel hesitation creeping in, count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move. Physically take the first step before your brain has time to come up with an excuse. Another way to eliminate hesitation is by pre-deciding your actions. If you decide in advance exactly what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, you eliminate the need for decision-making in the moment. Instead of thinking, should I work out today? Decide ahead of time. I'm going to the gym at 7 a.m. no matter what. Instead of wondering, should I work on my business? Commit. I'm making 10 calls every morning before noon. The fewer decisions you have to make, the easier it is to take action. Step 3. Make action non-negotiable. The final step to mastering execution is simple. Stop making action optional. Stop treating your goals like something you'll work on if you feel like it. Start treating them like non-negotiable commitments. Successful people don't take action because they feel motivated. They take action because they've trained themselves to act no matter what. Rain or shine, tired or energized, confident or scared, they execute. And now, so will you. Final words: becoming the person who always takes action. If you take one thing away from this chapter, let it be this: your life will be defined by how often you take action. Thinking doesn't create success. Planning doesn't create success. Only execution does. From this moment forward, you are not someone who hesitates. You are not someone who overthinks. You are not someone who waits for the perfect time. You are someone who moves. Because once you become the kind of person who takes action without hesitation, you become unstoppable. Chapter 6. The Unbreakable Will: How to Keep Going. When everything tries to stop you, most people start strong. They set goals with excitement, make plans with enthusiasm, and begin taking action with confidence. But then, something happens. Reality hits. The journey gets tough. They face setbacks, rejections, failures. Suddenly, what once felt exciting now feels exhausting. Doubt creeps in. Progress slows. Excuses start forming. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I was being unrealistic. Maybe I should try something easier. And before they even realize it, they've quit. They justify it, telling themselves it wasn't the right time or the right goal. But deep down, they know the truth. They let the struggle break them. And that's why most people never reach greatness. It's not because they weren't talented enough, smart enough, or capable enough. It's because they lacked one thing: the unbreakable will. The unbreakable will is what separates those who achieve massive success from those who settle for mediocrity. It's the ability to keep moving forward no matter what, to push through exhaustion, to refuse to let failures define you, to keep fighting when everything in you wants to stop. Because the truth is, success isn't about who starts the fastest, it's about who lasts the longest. If you're serious about dominating your goals, you need to become the kind of person who never stops. The kind of person who doesn't back down when things get hard. The kind of person who refuses to be broken by adversity. Because if you can develop an unbreakable will, you will achieve things most people never even dream of. You will become unstoppable. And in this chapter, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. The hidden truth about struggle. Why pain is your greatest weapon. Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody enjoys setbacks, rejection, or failure. But here's what most people don't realize. Struggle is not your enemy. It is your greatest asset. Think about the strongest, most resilient people in the world. The ones who have achieved greatness. The ones who have made history. Every single one of them has endured immense hardship. They've been knocked down more times than they can count. They've faced challenges that would make the average person crumble. And yet, they didn't just survive, they thrived. Because struggle is what builds strength. Just like your muscles grow when you push them to their limits, your mind grows when it's tested. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become stronger, tougher, more resilient. But most people don't see it that way. They see struggle as a sign to stop. They see pain as something to avoid. And because of that, they never grow. But you're going to be different. From this moment forward, you are going to embrace struggle. You're going to seek out difficulty. You are going to reframe pain as proof that you're leveling up. Because the more you push through, the stronger you become. The harder the challenge, the bigger the reward. If you're facing obstacles right now, if you're struggling, if you feel like quitting, good. That means you're on the right path. That means you're in the middle of your transformation. And that means you have a choice. Let the struggle break you, or let it build you. How to train yourself to never quit, no matter what happens. Most people quit because they let emotions dictate their actions. They stop when they feel tired, when they feel discouraged, when they feel like it's not working. But winners? They act regardless of how they feel. They don't let emotions control them. They have trained themselves to keep going, no matter what. And that's exactly what you're going to do. Step 1. Develop the no-choice mindset. The number one reason people quit is because they give themselves the option to quit. They allow quitting to be on the table. They tell themselves, if it gets too hard, I'll stop. And guess what happens? The second it gets hard, they stop. But the people who succeed at the highest levels have a different mindset. They don't give themselves a choice. They eliminate quitting as an option. They tell themselves, I don't care how long this takes. I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care how many times I fail. I am doing this, period. When you remove the option to quit, your brain stops looking for an exit. Instead of thinking, how can I get out of this? It starts thinking, how can I make this work? And that single shift changes everything. So from now on, when you set a goal, make a commitment. This is happening, no matter what. No excuses, no backing down, no plan B. Because when quitting is not an option, success becomes inevitable. Step 2. Master the art of suffering. Most people avoid discomfort. They quit when things get hard because they don't know how to handle pain. But if you want to achieve greatness, you need to do the exact opposite. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. This means training yourself to endure pain, to sit with discomfort, to push through exhaustion, boredom, frustration. Because the ability to tolerate discomfort is what separates the best from the rest. If you look at the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and performers, they all have one thing in common. They can endure more pain than anyone else. They've trained their minds to keep going when most people stop. They've mastered the art of suffering. And you can do the same. Start small. Push yourself a little harder every day. When you feel tired, do one more rep. When you feel like stopping, go 5 more minutes. When you want to quit, push through one more obstacle. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the stronger you become. And eventually, pain stops being something you fear. It becomes something you embrace. Step 3. Build the forever forward mentality. The final piece of developing an unbreakable will is simple. You never move backward. Ever. No matter what happens, no matter how many setbacks you face, no matter how slow progress feels, you keep moving forward. You refuse to retreat. You refuse to go back to old habits. You refuse to let anything pull you away from your mission. This is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's the refusal to stop. The refusal to accept anything less than success. And now that's you. Final words. The moment you decide to become unbreakable. This is the moment where everything changes for you. This is the moment you stop letting obstacles control you. This is the moment you decide that no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, you will not break. From this moment forward, you are unstoppable. You are relentless. You are someone who finishes what they start. You are someone who pushes through when others quit. You are someone who wins because you refuse to stop. Chapter 7. Total Domination: How to Crush Every Obstacle in Your Path. Every person chasing greatness eventually faces a moment when the world pushes back. Hard. You'll hit a wall so high, so brutal, that it will make you question everything. You'll feel stuck, exhausted, and overwhelmed. You'll wonder if you're even meant for this path. And this is exactly where most people stop. They give up, convinced that the resistance they're facing is a sign to turn back. But here's what they don't understand. The struggle isn't a stop sign. It's a test. Success isn't just about talent, intelligence, or hard work. It's about how you handle resistance. Do you crumble when things get tough? Or do you fight back harder? Do you retreat when the odds are against you? Or do you push forward with even more intensity? Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to prove that you have what it takes, that you're willing to go further than anyone else, that nothing can break you. The problem is, most people don't know how to fight back the right way. They either panic, shut down, or waste energy on things that don't actually move them forward. But those who dominate, those who truly become unstoppable, have a different approach. They don't just overcome obstacles, they obliterate them. They don't just find a way through, they create a path where there is none. They don't just survive the struggle, they thrive in it. That's exactly what this chapter is about. I'm going to give you the ultimate playbook for crushing every obstacle in your path, not just getting past them, but dominating them so completely that they never stand in your way again. Because once you master this skill, nothing can stop you. How to turn every obstacle into fuel for success. Most people see obstacles as roadblocks, something that slows them down or stops them completely. But the truth is, obstacles are fuel. Every setback, every failure, every moment of resistance is an opportunity to build more strength, more skill, and more dominance. Think of it like this. If you were in the gym lifting weights, would you complain that the weight is too heavy? No, because you know that pushing through the resistance is what makes you stronger. Obstacles work the same way. They are the resistance that builds your mental toughness, resilience, and problem-solving skills. The key is to stop seeing obstacles as problems and start seeing them as training. Every challenge is a chance to level up. Every setback is a chance to learn. Every failure is a chance to refine your strategy. The most dominant people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, fighters, leaders, they don't avoid obstacles. They seek them out. They know that if they're facing resistance, it means they're moving forward. From now on, I want you to adopt this mindset. Every obstacle makes me stronger. Every challenge is an opportunity. I don't run from difficulty. I dominate it. Step 1. Identify the real enemy. It's not what you think. When people hit obstacles, they usually assume the problem is external. They blame the economy, their boss, their circumstances, other people. But in reality, the biggest obstacle is almost always your own mind. Doubt, fear, hesitation. These are the real enemies. The external challenge is just a trigger, but the real battle is happening inside your head. The moment you let fear take over, the moment you start questioning yourself, the moment you hesitate, that's when you lose. So the first step to crushing any obstacle is to identify the real enemy. Ask yourself, what is really stopping me right now? Is it actually this external challenge, or is it my own doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs? Once you realize that the true battle is internal, you take back control. Because external obstacles are unpredictable, but your mindset is 100% in your control. And when you control your mind, you control everything. Step 2. Attack the problem with relentless action. Most people react to obstacles in one of two ways. They either freeze up, overanalyze, and do nothing, or they complain, panic, and waste energy on things they can't control. Both of these approaches lead to failure. Winners do something completely different. They attack the problem with relentless action. They don't wait for the perfect solution. They don't waste time overthinking. They don't let fear dictate their choices. They move. Because here's the truth. Action destroys fear. The longer you wait, the stronger fear becomes. The more you hesitate, the harder it gets. But the second you start moving, even if it's just one small step, fear starts to fade and momentum starts to build. When you face an obstacle, your first instinct should always be action. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to move forward? Then do it immediately. Don't wait. Don't debate. Just execute. And here's the best part. It doesn't have to be perfect. Most people wait for the right move, but domination isn't about perfection. It's about speed and persistence. You'll adjust as you go, but you have to start moving first. Step 3. Develop a warrior's mindset. No more victim thinking. One of the biggest reasons people fail is because they see themselves as victims. They believe that life is happening to them instead of realizing that they have the power to shape their reality. They focus on what they can't control instead of taking full ownership of what they can control. But if you want to dominate your goals, you have to think like a warrior. Warriors don't complain. They don't make excuses. They don't wait for someone to save them. They take full responsibility for their lives, no matter what happens. From now on, I want you to eliminate all victim thinking from your mind. No more blaming. No more excuses. No more waiting for things to get easier. Instead, adopt this belief. Everything in my life is my responsibility. Every obstacle is mine to overcome. Every challenge is mine to crush. The moment you take full ownership, you take full control. And when you have full control, you can create any result you want. Step 4. Build unstoppable resilience. Nothing can break you. No matter how tough you are, you will get hit. You will experience failure, rejection, and setbacks. But what matters isn't what happens to you. It's how you respond. The most dominant people in the world have one thing in common. They refuse to stay down. When they get knocked down, they get back up. Every single time, no matter how hard it is. no matter how much it hurts. This is what true resilience looks like, not avoiding failure, but refusing to let it define you. Every time life knocks you down, I want you to remember one thing. Get up, no matter what. No matter how bad it feels, no matter how impossible it seems. Stand back up and keep fighting, because the only way you lose is if you stay down. Final words. Becoming the person who always wins. This is your moment. Right now, you have a choice. You can keep handling obstacles the way most people do, hesitating, making excuses, letting fear dictate your actions. Or you can make the decision to be different, to be the kind of person who dominates, who never stops, who refuses to let anything stand in their way. From now on, you are that person. You don't avoid obstacles, you crush them. You don't let fear control you, you take action anyway. You don't make excuses, you take full ownership, and because of that, you will win. Every time, no matter what. Chapter 8. The Unshakable Confidence. Becoming the most powerful version of yourself. Imagine walking into any room and owning it. Imagine making decisions without hesitation, standing firm in your beliefs without seeking approval, and taking action without second-guessing yourself. Imagine going after your goals with the kind of certainty that makes people stop and take notice. That's unshakable confidence. It's the ultimate superpower, the one trait that separates those who dominate life from those who hesitate, doubt, and settle for less than they deserve. Confidence isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's about commanding your life. It's about walking through the world, knowing that no matter what happens, you will handle it. It's about eliminating self-doubt so completely that failure doesn't shake you, rejection doesn't weaken you, and setbacks don't make you question yourself. Because when you have unshakable confidence, you don't wait for permission. You don't hope for success. You expect it. And that expectation becomes your reality. The problem? Most people lack real confidence. They may put on a front, but deep down, they hesitate. They doubt themselves. They worry about what others think. And that lack of confidence keeps them from fully committing, fully pushing, and fully stepping into their power. They play small because they're afraid, but that's not going to be you. Because confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a skill. And in this chapter, I'm going to show you exactly how to develop unshakable confidence so that no matter what happens, no matter who doubts you, no matter what obstacles stand in your way, you will stand firm, take action, and dominate. Because once you master confidence, you become unstoppable. How confidence works and why most people get it wrong. Most people think confidence comes from success. They believe that once they achieve something big, once they get the promotion, once they make the money, once they reach their goals, then they'll feel confident. But that's completely backwards. Confidence doesn't come from success. Success comes from confidence. Think about it. The people who achieve the most are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or even the most prepared. They're the ones who believe in themselves the most. They take action before they feel ready. They put themselves out there even when they don't have all the answers. They step into situations where failure is possible, knowing they will figure it out along the way. And that's why they succeed. The truth is, confidence comes from one thing and one thing only: repeated action. The more you do something, the more competent you become. And the more competent you become, the more confident you feel. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. It's about taking action before you feel ready. And the more you do that, the stronger your confidence becomes. So, if you've been waiting for confidence to magically appear before you take action, stop. Confidence is built by moving forward, not by standing still. And that means your job is to start now. Step 1. Destroy self-doubt before it destroys you. If confidence is the ultimate superpower, Self-doubt is its greatest enemy. It's the voice in your head that whispers, "What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What will people think?" It's the mental weight that keeps you from stepping up, from taking risks, from putting yourself in positions where you might get hurt. And if you don't learn how to destroy it, it will destroy you. Here's the hard truth. Self-doubt is a liar. It's not based on reality. It's just fear disguised as logic. And the worst part? Most people believe it. They let their doubts dictate their actions, and in doing so, they sabotage their own potential. But not you. From now on, whenever self-doubt creeps in, you will call it out for what it is: a lie. You will not give it power. You will not let it control your decisions. You will recognize that fear and doubt are just signals that you're stepping into growth. And instead of backing down, you will push forward. The fastest way to kill self-doubt? Take action before you feel ready. Prove to yourself that you can handle it. Show yourself that fear is nothing more than a false alarm. Because the more you take action despite your doubts, the weaker they become. And eventually, they disappear completely. Step 2. Rewire your mind for total confidence. Confidence is not just about how you act. It's about how you think. And most people have spent years, even decades, programming their minds with limiting beliefs that crush their confidence before they even start. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not meant for success. These are not just thoughts. They are chains that hold you back. So if you want to build unshakable confidence, you need to rewire your mind. You need to replace those limiting beliefs with powerful, unstoppable, dominant beliefs that fuel your success. You need to create a mindset so strong that doubt has no place to exist. How do you do that? Simple. Every single day, you reinforce the identity of a confident, dominant, unstoppable person. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," you say, "I always figure it out." Instead of saying, "I don't know if I can do this," you say, "I am built for this." Instead of saying, "What if I fail?" you say, "Failure only makes me stronger." Words shape reality. The more you repeat something, the more your mind believes it. So every single day you tell yourself the truth. You are powerful. You are capable. You are unstoppable. And then you act like it. Step 3. Train yourself to take bold action, even when it's scary. Confidence is not just about feeling good. It's about doing the things most people are afraid to do. It's about making bold moves, stepping into the unknown, and taking risks that others avoid. Because the more you do that, the stronger your confidence becomes. The best way to train boldness? Do one thing every day that scares you. Speak up in a meeting when you'd normally stay quiet. Start the business you've been thinking about for years. Say no to things that drain you, even if it's uncomfortable. Put yourself in situations where failure is possible. Because confidence is built through exposure. The more you expose yourself to challenges, the less they scare you. And eventually, nothing shakes you. Nothing intimidates you. Nothing makes you hesitate. Final words. The day you stop asking for permission. This is the moment everything changes for you. This is the moment you stop seeking approval. This is the moment you stop waiting for confidence to show up and start creating it. From this day forward, you walk differently. You speak with power. You move with certainty. You don't second-guess yourself. You don't hold back. You don't play small. Because you are unshakable. And because of that, you will win. Chapter 9. Absolute Certainty. How to program your mind for inevitable success. There is one thing, just one, that separates those who always win from those who struggle, hesitate, and fall short of their goals. It's not intelligence, it's not talent, and it's not luck. It's something deeper, something most people never even consider. It's absolute certainty. Think about the most dominant people in the world, the athletes who seem untouchable, the entrepreneurs who build empires, the leaders who move nations. What do they all have in common? They never hesitate. They never doubt. They act with total conviction, total belief, total certainty. They move through the world as if their success is already guaranteed. And because of that mindset, their success becomes inevitable. The problem? Most people don't operate with certainty. Most people are full of doubt, full of hesitation, full of fear. They constantly second-guess themselves. They wonder, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if things don't work out? And because their mind is filled with uncertainty, their actions become weak, their decisions become shaky, and their results become mediocre. They lose before they even start. But that's not going to be you. Because in this chapter, I'm going to teach you how to program your mind for absolute certainty. I'm going to show you how to build a level of belief so unshakable that you move through life knowing, with every fiber of your being, that you will succeed. And when you reach that level, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop hesitating. You stop questioning yourself. Instead, you execute, you dominate, and you win. Let's get started. Step 1. Understand why certainty is the key to everything. If you look at any area of life, business, sports, relationships, personal growth, the people who succeed the most are the ones who believe in themselves the most. They don't wait for evidence. They don't wait for guarantees. They don't wait for proof. They decide that they will win, and then they make it happen. Most people do the opposite. They think, once I see results, then I'll believe in myself. But that's not how it works. Belief comes first. Certainty comes first. You have to decide in advance that your success is inevitable. You have to move as if you've already won. Because when you do that, your actions align with that belief, and the results follow. Let me give you an example. Think about a world-class athlete stepping up to compete. If they go into the game thinking, I hope I win, I hope I play well, they've already lost. But if they walk onto that field with absolute certainty, if they move with the belief that victory is already theirs, they play at an entirely different level. Their confidence is unshakable. Their movements are precise, and their presence is commanding. This is how you need to operate in every area of your life. You don't hope. You don't wish. You decide. You move with certainty. And when you do that, the world bends to your belief. Step 2. Rewire your brain to eliminate doubt. Completely doubt is the enemy of certainty. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you hesitate, every time you question your ability to succeed, you weaken your power. You give away control. You create unnecessary resistance. So if you want to dominate, you need to eliminate doubt from your mind completely. You need to train your brain to reject hesitation, reject insecurity, reject fear. Because the truth is, doubt is a lie. It's not real. It's just a habit, one you've picked up over time. And like any habit, it can be broken. Here's how you do it. Step 1. Every time a doubt enters your mind, you immediately replace it with certainty. If your brain says, what if I fail? You override it with, I always figure it out. If it says, what if I'm not good enough? You respond with, I am built for this. You do this over and over again until your mind no longer entertains doubt. Step 2. You surround yourself with proof that certainty works. Study the most successful people. Watch how they think, how they move, how they speak. Notice how they never hesitate, never second guess, never doubt. The more you expose yourself to that level of belief, the more it becomes your reality. Step 3. You act before you feel ready. Doubt thrives in hesitation. The longer you wait, the stronger doubt becomes. But the moment you take action, before you feel ready, you kill doubt in its tracks. The goal is simple. You train your mind to operate from certainty at all times. No more hesitation, no more fear, just pure, unstoppable belief. Step 3. Build an identity that guarantees success. The way you see yourself dictates everything. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, someone who tries, someone who hopes to succeed, you will always fall short. But if you see yourself as someone who always wins, always figures it out, always dominates, then that is exactly what will happen. So ask yourself, who do I need to become to make my success inevitable? What kind of person moves with absolute certainty? How do they think? How do they act? How do they speak? Then you step into that identity right now. You don't wait, you don't hesitate, you embody that identity today, and you never break character. Because when you see yourself as unstoppable, you become unstoppable. Step 4. Take relentless action until the world has no choice but to give you what you want. Here's the final piece. You back up your certainty with relentless, unstoppable action. Because belief alone is not enough. Certainty means nothing if it's not followed by execution. You need to prove through your actions that you are serious. You don't wait for opportunities. You create them. You don't stop when things get hard. You push even harder. You don't ask for permission. You take what's yours. You act with so much conviction, so much intensity, so much certainty that the world has no choice but to give you what you want. Your success becomes inevitable because your level of action is undeniable. Final words. You are now unstoppable. This is it. This is the moment everything changes for you. Because now you know the truth. Success is not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about certainty. When you move with absolute certainty, you dominate. You don't hesitate. You don't doubt. You don't wait for permission. You act. You execute. You take what's yours. And because of that, you win. Every time. No matter what. Chapter 10. The Execution Code. How to take relentless action until success becomes inevitable. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how much potential you have. It doesn't even matter how much you believe in yourself. None of that means anything if you don't take action. Execution is everything. It is the single most important factor that separates winners from losers, the powerful from the powerless, the successful from the average. Most people fail because they never execute at the level required for success. They hesitate. They overthink. They get distracted. They allow fear, doubt, and excuses to control them. They set goals, but don't follow through. They talk about what they want, but they never fully commit to the relentless action necessary to achieve it. Think about this. How many times have you seen someone with less talent, less intelligence, less skill than you succeed, simply because they took more action? How many times have you held yourself back, waiting for the perfect moment, while someone else with half your ability moved forward and got results? This is the brutal truth. Success doesn't go to the smartest. It goes to the most relentless. And that's exactly what this chapter is about. I'm going to show you how to become an execution machine, someone who takes action at a level so extreme, so unstoppable, that success becomes automatic. Someone who never hesitates, never procrastinates, never makes excuses. Someone who moves so fast, so decisively, so relentlessly, that the world has no choice but to give them what they want. Because the people who dominate life are not the ones who sit around thinking about success. They are the ones who take action so aggressively, so consistently, that success becomes inevitable. And by the time you finish this chapter, that's exactly who you will be. Let's get started. Step 1. Kill the enemy of execution. Hesitation. Hesitation is the #1 killer of execution. Every time you hesitate, you weaken yourself. You allow fear, doubt, and excuses to creep in. You create unnecessary resistance, and worst of all, You break momentum. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to take action, but instead of moving immediately, you started thinking? You started analyzing. You started wondering, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? And because of that hesitation, you never moved at all. That ends today. From now on, you operate under one rule: action first, thought second. You don't wait until you feel ready. You don't overanalyze. You don't hesitate. You move immediately. If you have an idea, you take action on it within the next 5 minutes. If you set a goal, you start working on it today. If you know what needs to be done, you do it now, not later. You rewire your brain to associate action with urgency. No more waiting. No more hesitation. Immediate execution becomes your default setting. Step 2. Develop the relentless work ethic of the elite. Most people want success, but they don't work like it. They talk about what they want, they dream about what they want, but when it comes time to put in the work, they move slow. They procrastinate. They work when they feel like it. They stop when they get tired. But the elite, the people who dominate life, they work at a level most people would never even consider. They execute with so much speed, so much intensity, so much relentless consistency that failure becomes impossible. If you want to be one of them, your work ethic must become untouchable. That means you work harder than everyone around you. You execute faster than everyone around you. You take more action, more consistently, than anyone else in your field. There is no room for laziness, no room for excuses, no room for good enough. You work like your life depends on it, because it does. Step 3. Create systems that force you to execute. Discipline is great. Motivation is nice. But the real key to execution is creating systems that make action automatic. Because let's be honest, willpower is unreliable. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you won't want to move. If you rely on motivation to take action, you will fail. That's why you must create a system, a structure, that forces you to execute no matter what. Here's how. 1. Schedule execution into your day. If something is important, it goes on your calendar. You don't leave it to chance. You don't hope to get it done. You set a time, and when that time comes, you execute. 2. Eliminate distractions ruthlessly. Your environment must be designed for execution. No social media. No unnecessary notifications. No distractions. When it's time to work, it's time to work. 3. Use deadlines to force action. Nothing creates urgency like a deadline. Set aggressive deadlines for every task, and then attack them with intensity. You do not rely on feelings. You rely on systems. And those systems ensure that no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what distractions arise, you execute at the highest level. Step 4. Master the art of relentless consistency. Anyone can take action once. Anyone can have a good day, a good week, maybe even a good month. But the people who dominate, they execute every single day. Success is not about working hard once in a while. It's about showing up every single day, no matter what. You execute when you're tired. You execute when you don't feel like it. You execute when you don't see immediate results. You execute when everyone else has quit, because consistency is the key to everything. The difference between the people who win and the people who don't is simple. Winners never stop executing. Step 5. Develop an obsession with execution. The final step is the most important. You must become obsessed with execution. Most people are obsessed with results. They focus on the end goal, the achievement, the success. But the people who truly dominate, they fall in love with the process. They become addicted to taking action. They find joy in the work. They get a rush from moving fast, making decisions, pushing forward. And because they love execution, they do it at a level most people would never even consider. From this moment forward, you develop an unstoppable hunger for execution. You love action. You crave action. You wake up every day looking for ways to move faster, push harder, execute better. And because of that, you win. Every time. Final words, you are now a machine of relentless execution. This is it. This is the moment you transform. Because now you know the truth. Success is not about talent. It's not about intelligence. It's about relentless execution. And from this day forward, that is who you are. You don't hesitate. You execute. You don't make excuses. You execute. You don't wait for motivation. You execute. You don't stop when it's hard. You execute. You move at a level so intense, so relentless, so unstoppable that success is no longer a question. It is a guarantee. Chapter 11. Unstoppable Momentum. How to create an avalanche of success that never stops. There is a hidden force that makes success effortless for some, while others struggle for years. It's a force so powerful that once you tap into it, success no longer becomes something you chase. It becomes something that chases you. That force is momentum. Think about the most successful people in the world. Have you noticed how once they succeed, they keep winning? It's as if their results multiply effortlessly. They start one business and it takes off. Then they start another, and that one explodes too. They build a brand, a movement, a legacy. Every decision they make turns into gold. Every opportunity falls into their lap. It seems unfair, almost supernatural. But it's not luck. It's not magic. It's momentum. Most people want success, but they don't work like it. They talk about what they want, they dream about what they want, but when it comes time to put in the work, they move slow. They procrastinate. They work when they feel like it. They stop when they get tired. But the elite, the people who dominate life, they work at a level most people would never even consider. They execute with so much speed, so much intensity, so much relentless consistency that failure becomes impossible. If you want to be one of them, your work ethic must become untouchable. That means you work harder than everyone around you. You execute faster than everyone around you. You take more action, more consistently than anyone else in your field. There is no room for laziness, no room for excuses, no room for good enough. You work like your life depends on it, because it does. Step 3. Create systems that force you to execute. Discipline is great. Motivation is nice. But the real key to execution is creating systems that make action automatic. Because let's be honest, willpower is unreliable. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you won't want to move. If you rely on motivation to take action, you will fail. That's why you must create a system, a structure, that forces you to execute no matter what. Here's how. 1. Schedule execution into your day. If something is important, it goes on your calendar. You don't leave it to chance. You don't hope to get it done. You set a time, and when that time comes, you execute. 2. Eliminate distractions ruthlessly. Your environment must be designed for execution. No social media. No unnecessary notifications. No distractions. When it's time to work, it's time to work. 3. Use deadlines to force action. Nothing creates urgency like a deadline. Set aggressive deadlines for every task, and then attack them with intensity. You do not rely on feelings. You rely on systems. And those systems ensure that no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what distractions arise, you execute at the highest level. Step 4. Master the art of relentless consistency. Anyone can take action once. Anyone can have a good day, a good week, maybe even a good month. But the people who dominate, they execute every single day. Success is not about working hard once in a while. It's about showing up every single day, no matter what. You execute when you're tired. You execute when you don't feel like it. You execute when you don't see immediate results. You execute when everyone else has quit, because consistency is the key to everything. The difference between the people who win and the people who don't is simple. Winners never stop executing. Step 5. Develop an obsession with execution. The final step is the most important. You must become obsessed with execution. Most people are obsessed with results. They focus on the end goal, the achievement, the success. But the people who truly dominate, they fall in love with the process. They become addicted to taking action. They find joy in the work. They get a rush from moving fast, making decisions, pushing forward. And because they love execution, they do it at a level most people would never even consider. From this moment forward, you develop an unstoppable hunger for execution. You love action. You crave action. You wake up every day looking for ways to move faster, push harder, execute better. And because of that, you win. Every time. Final words, you are now a machine of relentless execution. This is it. This is the moment you transform, because now you know the truth. Success is not about talent. It's not about intelligence. It's about relentless execution, and from this day forward, that is who you are. You don't hesitate. You execute. You don't make excuses. You execute. You don't wait for motivation. You execute. You don't stop when it's hard. You execute. You move at a level so intense, so relentless, so unstoppable, that success is no longer a question. It is a guarantee. Chapter 11. Unstoppable Momentum. How to create an avalanche of success that never stops. There is a hidden force that makes success effortless for some, while others struggle for years. It's a force so powerful that once you tap into it, success no longer becomes something you chase. It becomes something that chases you. That force is momentum. Think about the most successful people in the world. Have you noticed how once they succeed, they keep winning? It's as if their results multiply effortlessly. They start one business and it takes off. Then they start another, and that one explodes too. They build a brand, a movement, a legacy. Every decision they make turns into gold. Every opportunity falls into their lap. It seems unfair, almost supernatural. But it's not luck. It's not magic. It's momentum. Final words. You are now an unstoppable force. This is it. This is the final key. Because now you understand what most people never will. Success is not about effort. It's about momentum. When you build momentum, everything becomes easier. Your confidence skyrockets. Your results multiply. Your path becomes clear. And from this day forward, that is exactly what you will do.